defenders, the only people who appear in court more frequently than former child stars. Even if you have never come into contact with a public defender, you will know them from their important cameo in the Miranda warning speech.
You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney.
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 What is this shit?
You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we will provide you with the dumbest fucking lawyer on earth.
I have the right to an attorney too, pal. And if I can't afford one must be provided for me by the court.
Yes, apparently even Garfield knows he has the right to a public defender. And he's going to need one too, because he just murdered a lasagna. And a person. The right to a lawyer is a pillar of American jurisprudence, but it's a right that we've only had since 1963, when the Supreme Court unanimously ruled that any person who is too poor to hire a lawyer cannot be assured a fair trial unless a lawyer is provided for him. It's an idea so obvious, you can't believe there was ever a time that we didn't have it. The problem is, our public defender system is currently massively overburdened. Depending on the jurisdiction, anywhere from 60 to 90% of criminal defendants need a publicly funded attorney, and the system is creaking under that weight.
Right now, there are about 20 public defenders handling up to 250 cases.
In New Orleans, for example, each public defender handles roughly 350 cases a year.
Public defenders in Fresno County often work on 1,000 cases a year, when state guidelines say they shouldn't be doing more than 100.
And with caseloads that heavy, public defenders cannot possibly prepare an effective defense. A study in New Orleans a few years back found that the city had some part-time defenders who could only spend an average of 7 minutes per case. And that is not long enough to prepare anything. If I only had 7 minutes to prepare this show, I definitely would not be talking about public defenders right now. I'd be desperate. Briefly. And look, this is just the beginning of the problem. Some places don't even have a public defender's office. And some counties just contract cases out in bulk to the lowest bidder. And at its worst, this can result in a system known as meet 'em and plead 'em, where the vast majority of defendants plead out and never even go to trial.
90 to 95% of all criminal cases, state and federal, are resolved by plea bargaining.
Now, just think about that. About 95% of criminal cases never make it to trial. If Law and Order reflected reality, their episodes would be pretty short. It'd basically just be, how does your client plead? Guilty, Your Honor, and then this. And as a viewer, you would justifiably feel cheated by that. And look, it is easy not to care about this. It's easy to assume that if someone is being represented by a public defender, they're probably guilty. But many are not, and some only plead because they feel they have no alternative. Look at Irma Faye Stewart. She was arrested in a drug sweep, but claimed she was innocent. She faced a 10-year sentence and was stuck in jail because she couldn't afford bail. She said her court-appointed lawyer urged her to take a plea deal, and she reluctantly agreed.
I asked him, what's the name, I can plead for 5-year probation, just let me go home to my kids.
She admitted to a crime she denies committing just to spend time with her children. That is horrifying, especially because... Now, after Irma pled guilty, the prosecution's case collapsed, and the other defendants who didn't take a plea deal had their charges dropped. But Irma could not take her plea back, so she had to spend 5 years on probation, during which she was ineligible for some form of public assistance and wound up homeless. And that is the problem with a system that can allot as little as 7 minutes to helping people make decisions that can affect you for the rest of your life. Our public defender system is dangerously under-resourced. One report found out that 40% of all county-based public defenders have no investigators on staff. That's 40% of lawyers forced to sit at their desks Googling where to get exonerating evidence and hitting I'm feeling lucky.